Welcome back to the Money Bear podcast. Today I am doing something a little bit different. You guys may have seen this story in some emails, or if you've come to our free webinar, I've talked about my friend Cassie who took the Lazy Investors course a little over a year ago, back in, I want to say you were in the first cohort, right?
I think I bought it in maybe March of
Okay.
2022, and then it took me a few months to go through it. I really appreciated the drip
Mm-hmm.
of the course. So the 7 modules kind of came weekly. So I could do it at my own pace, and it took me a couple of months to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then it's really just been a year and a half since you've taken it then, which is crazy. So anyway, you guys can probably tell where I'm going with this. Cassie had DM'd me probably about a month ago, and you've DM'd me a couple times since taking the course and doing all that. And we actually got the pleasure of meeting when I was on my road trip. But you DM'd me and you're like, Chloe, I'm a half millionaire. And I was like, what? That's so exciting. And I loved it too. You were like, I'm sure it'll change because like the market goes up and down. And I was like, first, I love that you know that. And you're just like, not a big deal. I can still celebrate this win. But you essentially increased your net worth by about $140,000 in a year and a half. So I was like, holy crap, congratulations. That's so cool. And do you want to come on the Money Bear and kind of talk about your money story? And she was like, yes, let's do it. So I'm excited to kind of also hear more about your story because I haven't heard all of your story. And I think people will relate for sure the parts that I do know about your story. So welcome, Cassie. Unlike my often influencer guests or people who are on the internet, I was going to say, tell us who you are in real life and tell us who you are on the internet. But what do you kind of like? What do you do? Where do you live? Tell us a little bit about Cassie first.
Sure. So let's see. So my name's Cassie. I was born and raised and then still currently live in Boise, Idaho. Boise is the hotness these days. So I've really fully leaned into the grumpy local persona, um, old grumpy local. I have like lived several different places. Like I kind of bounced around from Seattle, Denver, Chicago,
Mhm.
you kind of throughout my 20s and early 30s, but then landed kind of back home in Boise, Idaho.
Mhm.
Professionally, I do have kind of like a corporate job. I don't make money on the internet. Um, so I'm an executive recruiter for a healthcare specific management consultancy that's also based out of Chicago. You can see the one element of
Yes.
decor I'm willing to put into my home office for them
I
above my
love it.
shoulder.
She's got
Um,
if you're not watching the video, she's got the Chicago flag right behind her.
yes, sorry, auditory
No,
listeners.
you're good.
Um, and so I do that professionally. On the internet, I am an outdoors woman generally, and tend to post things from kind of where I am. I like to hike, I like to backpack, I like to ski, I like to cross country ski, and do a few other things like boating and fishing. I'm an unlucky angler, is what I like to tell people.
Wait,
So
what's an
folks,
angler?
fisherman, like a fisherman.
Oh, I was like, I feel like I should know what that is, and I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm very unlucky. I'm not a good angler, so but I like to tell people that I'm an unlucky angler. And then do some yoga. I like to read a lot. Very
Yeah.
ambivert personality, definitely in the
I
middle.
I love it. And I remember when I got to Boise last year, I was so surprised by how friendly it is for all of those activities. It's like such an outdoorsy place. And maybe we shouldn't talk about that since it's had such a rush of people coming to live there now. I actually read, I want to say it was probably a little after I was there last year. I read an article that said that Boise's housing market is the most overpriced housing market in the country, which is wild. And I remember getting on Zillow and being like, these prices are like Colorado prices. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
and did you buy? I can't remember. Do you buy or do you rent?
So I own a home.
Okay.
To get into the neighborhood I lived in, I did play a little bit, like kind of the real estate game. So
Yeah.
bought a home 7 years ago, did a
Hmm.
little work to it, was able to sell that home and then get into the neighborhood I really wanted to be in, kind of with the equity, of the first home that
Awesome.
resulted in. I am not a real estate investor. Like,
She's a
I just
lazy
want to,
investor.
I'm a lazy investor. Like, this whole real estate, like, buy this, rent, flip a house, do that. That is so not me.
Hmm.
I am not into that whatsoever. So I just want your listeners out there to know, even though I said that, like, that's not my strategy.
Yes, that's not the path that she has decided to lean into
No, no.
in her journey and your path towards early retirement. Because if I remember correctly, that was something that was of interest of you too. So we'll talk about that as well. But no, I was curious just because with the housing market, I'm sure that because you were able to get in 7 years ago, it's probably doing pretty well for you. But then it's like, if you sold, where would you live, right?
I mean, my parents don't have a basement, so even that's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no desire to do any kind of like real estate transaction right now. With our market as overinflated as it is, like we wouldn't be
Hmm.
able to get into another place, and I'm also not willing to take on a mortgage with an 8% interest rate, so that's
Yeah.
not happening.
It's wild. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what the real estate market does in the next couple of years, honestly. So, but anyway, I love it. So I love that you put that disclaimer in there of like, guys, I'm not a real estate and do not confuse me for a real estate investor.
Yeah, no.
She's a lazy investor because she's spending all her time doing the stuff that she loves to do, not spending time fixing toilets. So, I kind of want to hear a little bit about what was money like for you growing up? Like what was kind of your path and when you joined the well, actually, we'll get to that. Let's tell me first, what was money like for you growing up?
I thought about this a lot. We were pretty like solidly middle class-ish.
Mhm.
So my father was a high school teacher, and then he painted houses in the summer.
Hmm.
Because especially in the state of Idaho, we like to pay our teachers at the poverty level, rather than pay them a living wage. And so my dad became like an independent contractor, specifically a house painter, kind of in the summers, nights, weekends, kind of a thing to make like additional income for our family. My mom was like, she did different things. Like she stayed at home for a while, and then she also worked retail. She worked in a coffee shop. She worked in like a stationery store, and then
Hmm.
she was also like a personal assistant for a high producing real estate agent. Um, that was kind of when I was like elementary school, junior high ish. So my
Hmm.
mom had a number of kind of like odd jobs here and there. I know in the course you asked a lot about kind of like money memories.
Yeah.
Um, I painted houses on one of the summer like college kid crews one summer, and I remember having this like very visceral reaction to it's Southern Idaho. We're painting houses. It's 100 degrees outside, and like really experiencing and then witnessing like how hard my father worked for
Yeah.
our family. I'm
Hmm.
even finding myself like getting a little bit emotional about it right
Oh,
now because it really was like kind of sorry, Chloe, can I curse?
of course.
Oh, okay, perfect. It was like really this kind of like holy shit
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
I also don't feel like my parents did a super good job on the money education front.
Yeah.
Um, I think they maybe like I remember my dad sitting down and paying the bills and like being very responsible with money, but I also remember him saying the things which like now looking back on it, like I'm really horrified that he would like hide money in my parents' checking account so my mom like couldn't overdraw the account. And I
Mm,
I now find that to be like very old school and kind of misogynistic in its
hmm.
way.
Yeah.
Very different time.
That's so
That
interesting that like out of all the things to teach you, that's what he revealed to you.
it was, yeah, and it's like my parents are very sweet, and I know that part of it was like a joking way. And this is like
Sure.
a different time, right? Like
Yeah.
my parents were married in 73. They've been married for 50 years. So, it's like a different time, but those are some of like the money memories that I have, is like just seeing how hard my father worked, kind of hearing this, like seeing that it was like this very like male responsibility in a
Yeah.
way. And those were the things that kind of informed, especially my own perspective of like, oh, I'm never going to have that be the
Mm,
case where, there's some man in my life and that person makes the money decisions, kind of for our household. Like that was never
yeah.
going to be a situation that I was going to get into in my life.
Mhm.
But like, I didn't know anything about investing. Like I knew about checkings and checking and savings accounts.
Mhm.
But that's kind of all I knew.
Yeah, which to be fair, I mean, some people don't even have that level of education and understanding the different accounts that are available, even from like a cash flow perspective. Was there any like one resounding lesson that they tried to teach you, like, like avoid credit card debt or don't take out student loans or, save your money? Like for me, it was always my mom would say, pay yourself first. And I never understood what that meant. It was just like, yeah, okay, like, moving on.
My folks were very like responsibilities
Mm,
focused. Like
okay.
I am 100 million% certain that they paid off their house early.
Yeah.
And like all of the bills were paid. So they were very like responsibilities focused. So it
Mm,
would be like pay off your mortgage early. Don't get into credit card debt. Make sure you're paying that off every month. You're responsible for the light bill and the gas bill and the garbage water bill and whatever. So it was like very like responsibilities focused
mhm.
education.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like you've got to prepare for the fact that you're going to be like, once you're an adult, you're going to be responsible for all of these things. So you knew like that was going to be part of being an adult, but didn't necessarily have any of the strategies to like make that happen, right?
Absolutely. My dad was like, you go to college and you get a job and you get off my health plan and you get
Yeah.
off of my cell phone bill.
He's
Like,
like, I can't wait. Like, please hurry up and do that.
totally.
I
Totally.
love it.
In a
So
loving way. In a loving
yeah,
way.
of course, of course. So when you kind of started working and started making money, whether that was in high school or college, what was kind of your approach to money in? Did you save it? Did you have a system or you just kind of like money in, money out?
So I definitely didn't have a formal system. I don't have a formal budget today. There's just no way that you could get me to actually do that. I have a system. I don't have a budget. I'd be happy to tell you what my system is.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the other things that like really informed my perspective was that like especially because like I saw and witnessed like lots of boomers growing up,
Yeah.
but I also saw like lots of boomers that like the woman didn't work and didn't have her own assets and
Hmm.
ended up staying with, some dog because he worked and owned the assets and all of those kinds of things. And I didn't want that to happen to me.
Hmm.
And so I also did know that I'm going to be blunt here. I want to be rich.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So
Yeah.
I I did start investing relatively early. I just was clueless about how to do it.
Hmm.
So I was probably, I don't know, mid 20s, call it 25-ish,
Yeah.
best guess. When I did hire a financial advisor, and I know you're going to ask me about getting fired by him. Um,
We will definitely talk about that.
Totally fine. Um, so I did start making some investments. I it wasn't automated.
Hmm.
I had no idea what I was doing. Like
Hmm.
I was like, okay, you get the match on your 401k, and then sometimes I send some money to this investor guy, and I'm gonna get rich somehow.
Yeah.
Absolutely clueless.
How did you even know to do that? Like, I think somebody in their mid 20s, even knowing to hire a guy or find a guy, like, do you know what like led you to do that? Did you have somebody saying, like, hey, Cassie, if you want to be rich, this is what you have to do?
It was so okay. I don't know exactly. but there were two very influential people in my life. Like one, I was dating somebody quite a bit older than I, so it could
Okay.
have been that person.
Yeah.
Um, I also had my first real job manager was this woman named Zoe.
Mm.
She herself was older. She taught me so much about who I am, like professionally, as well as like some like personal things.
Yeah.
And I think it was also partly Zoe that kind
Mm.
of helped me get started on a track that, again, a totally clueless track, but like a pro, ultimately an
Like an
unproductive path,
idea, like
but
you
an
like
idea. Yeah.
yeah, because I like I said, I mean, sometimes just even having the idea that that's something that you should be looking at is it's wild. It's like outside of our realm of possibility or imagination. So I love that even though we have a fun story to tell about your financial advisor and what you discovered when you
Yeah.
decided to take it on, it still got you started. It still gave you that leg up so that by the time you did decide to start learning how to invest yourself, like you did that for yourself. So it's a great thing. And I love that it was through a mentor, like somebody, or potentially, like you don't know necessarily if it was her or not, but I resonate with that a lot. I feel like I owe a lot of my career successes and confidence. And even, I don't know how I specifically was like for me, when I decided, oh, it's time to figure this money thing out, it was just because I was so tired of being stressed about it. And I was like, dumber people than me have figured this out before. Like there is gotta be a way for me to figure this stuff out. And so then the Googling began, of like, what do I do with $60,000 of debt? So it's always interesting to hear like, how did somebody get directed into one path or another? So we had the financial advisor guy and you started that mid 20s. Were you kind of like, were you good at naturally saving or were you more of a spender?
Um, I have always been pretty good at saving.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, because I was raised to like how I was raised was like always this kind of like responsibility focused
Mm-hmm.
forward upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I definitely think my parents emphasized like don't get into debt, be out of debt, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly feel very differently than they do about it because I don't think that there's like debt has morality to it whatsoever.
100%.
Um, but I was very much raised kind of in a more financially conservative manner. So I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a bad saver by any
Okay.
means. I don't think I ever lived kind of like out and beyond my means. Like I never had to pay off like a significant amount of credit card debt.
Okay, cool. And so once you got into the workforce and you're like, all right, I'm going to get a guy, I'm going to do this. You mentioned you had a system kind of how you manage your money, and you still have a system on how you manage your money. Tell us what that system is, because I love that you mentioned that, because you do not have to have a budget in order to succeed at your finances. You have to have a system, and that
Yeah.
system has to work for you. Maybe that's going to include a budget. Maybe that's not going to include a budget. So Cassie, what's kind of your system been?
Okay, so my system is
I love it. You're like getting excited. She's like leaning forward. She's like, all right, I've been waiting for this.
I know it's also like so dorky. So um I currently have a partner.
Hmm.
We do not combine all of our finances because that was never something that was going to work for me.
Hmm.
It was like it was very upfront. Like we're not partnering up if we have to partner our money. So
Okay.
don't even ask.
Do you
Um,
think that did that come from like witnessing your parents' relationship with money and how they kind of like navigated it? Was that kind of like the root of that?
Probably that, and then the story I told you about like the like boomer females that ended
Yeah.
up getting stuck with their partner that made the household income and things like that. Like I just never wanted that to happen to
Yeah.
me. So there's a system for that as well.
Yep.
In that it's like an income sharing system. We do ours by percentages
Hmm.
because like it's going to be really hard to make exactly the same amount of money with the same amount of benefits as a partner. So what we do is we put a certain percentage of our income into like a shared account, and then the rest is ours individually.
Hmm.
So for my individual money, I keep kind of an emergency fund. It's kind of a fuck you fund so that I could like quit my job at a moment's notice if something like really ticks me off. Um, but it's so I keep 10,000 bucks in a high yield checking account. So I'm with a small local credit union that has like an amazing percentage yield for a checking account. So I keep 10,000 bucks in there at all times.
Okay, and the people will want to know what account is that? What's the bank?
Oh, it is Capital Educators Federal Credit Union.
Wow, never heard of that one. I love it.
It, it's in Boise, Idaho. I do think you have to be an Idaho resident to qualify.
Okay, okay. All right.
Uh,
Local representation. I love it.
yes, yeah, local strong. Um, so the the 10,000 is like that maxes out the high yield in the checking account.
Okay.
And so then anything left over that I want for an emergency fund, I keep at, I use Ally to get like the high yield savings account.
Hmm.
And then what I do is I take, so my paycheck comes in, and I have gotten on board with your mom of pay yourself first. So what I've automated to go into my investments comes out, and then I kind of like pay for a few things. And essentially, I live off the difference between $10,000 and $11,000.
Okay.
Like,
Also, that's very, you mean like anything that's above $11,000 is what you live off of? Or you're
no,
saying
no,
the $1,000?
I live in between $10,000 and $11,000 in my checking account. So if I've paid myself first, and let's say I have $11,138.50, I take that $138.50 and it gets invested additionally
Okay.
after my automated investment goes, and then I live between 10 and 11,000.
So you're telling me you have like $1,000 of expenses a month. That's it.
No, oh, I mean, somewhere in between those two things, because like my mortgage
Oh,
and
it's in the
the
joint.
bills are coming out of the joint account. So, like, that is like a separate system. And so, what I'm doing individually is I'm just living somewhere in between 10 and $11,000 at any time.
Okay, I got it. So let me just
Yeah.
repeat it back so that I make sure I understand. So then my audience also understands. So essentially, we've got the automation of however much percentage that goes into the joint account, and that has its own system that we've kind of already talked about. Then when you get paid, there's an automation that goes directly into your investments, the a la pay yourself first. And then
Correct.
anything that's left over goes into that high yield checking account. And if you're like, oh, there's a little bit more here than normal, there's $11,500, you're like, I'm taking that $500 and I'm investing that too. So we've gotten an aggressive investor over here and I love it, but you wouldn't have increased your net worth so quickly had you not been. So it makes sense.
Yes.
And then really you just live between like essentially anything above $10,000, but below $11,000 is like you get to spend it as you want because your utilities and your mortgage and like the essential expenses are coming out of that joint expense account likely. So then it's like that's your play money.
Correct.
Okay, it's an anti-budget, my friends. So I love that because essentially that's what it is. It's like what I always tell people is unless you have severe overspending issues or you are spending more than what you make or you just like cannot seem to get a hold on your expenses, this is like the ideal situation for most people is don't focus on every single dollar. Every single dollar doesn't matter. Who cares if you spent $5 on coffee today? Who cares if you went and bought a record? No, nobody cares. What we care about is how much are you saving and investing? Are you reaching your savings goals? Are you reaching your investing goals? Because that's what we want to keep track of. So once you can get to that level, it's a beautiful, easy, lazy system. So fantastic. I love that. And
Yeah.
how long have you been doing that method?
Well, I would say generally forever, but the
Okay.
specificity of it,
Yeah.
I created this specific system when I took the Lazy Investors course.
Awesome. I love it. I'm going to give myself a little credit for a little bit of it. It sounds like that's exactly what you've been doing, just maybe a little bit more like systematic.
Essentially. And then like I did download like your budget sheet and like started to fill it out. And I was like, oh shit, no, this is not,
And
this
that's
is
what I
not
tell
me.
people. That's what I
Not
tell
gonna work.
people. Yeah, some people it cannot work, especially if you struggle with like ADHD or you struggle with just like anxiety around using a spreadsheet or tracking every dollar. That's why I'm like, it's okay if this method doesn't work for you. I'm a data nerd. It worked for me for a while, but I don't do that anymore. I just focus on, am I saving and investing enough? Is it in line with what I want to be doing? And then I don't worry about the rest. So that's good news for people who are like, I'm not gonna track every dollar, Chloe.
It's just, it's too much
Yeah.
for me. I get like really overwhelmed with being like, okay, well, what do I spend on my haircut every
Yeah.
6 weeks? And how do I like accommodate that? And, how do I go see my friends and travel? And what are my charitable contributions and things like that? Like, I find it to be really
Tedious.
over tedious, kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I just need like guardrails in which to live in between. And
Hmm.
that is what works for me.
I love it. Awesome. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about kind of what brought you to the Lazy Investors course, and then what kind of changed after you decided to take it. Because we know we've already given like a cookie crumble of the fact that she got fired by her financial advisor and she increased her net worth by 140K in a year and a half. So kind of take us to the moment that led you up to, you know what, I think I want to invest in this course. Where were you at? What made you decide to do that?
Yeah. So there's like a little bit of sadness to this story, but so my partner was diagnosed with cancer
Mhm.
in 2021. And it was a rare and aggressive disease. And that there's nothing like a cancer diagnosis in your household to really remind you of like you need to get your shit together.
Right.
So, legally, financially, kind of emotionally, logistically, like there was a lot that went into, this cancer diagnosis treatment. Like we had to end up like traveling for treatment, like moving to another state to get the right treatment. So
Mhm.
it was a mess.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that did catalyze me a bit in thinking about things like, okay, like, oh gosh, I could be on my own unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted to be prepared for that. Like I, shared that story with you of like, I didn't want to be that boomer woman that gets stuck.
Mhm.
So like, I've always been independent, have always, been financially planning for that, but really recognized that I wanted to get everything together, like legally and logistically and financially, and recognize that maybe not exactly knowing what my money was doing and what I was doing with it wasn't the right course for me.
Mhm.
Chloe, I found you on Instagram. I think like through somebody I follow posted something who posted something who posted something. Like I think I
Right.
just went down kind of like the social media
Rabbit
rabbit
hole.
hole.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then as I started to like consume that, you consume content and then more content is kind of pushed your way, etc.
Yeah.
So I did look at other courses. Like I looked at the Dow James. I found their suits terrifying. I was like, I can get on board with somebody that is like dancing and twerking in running shorts and gold toe socks.
Yes.
Like that got me.
I can't tell you how many people say the exact same thing. And I'm like, man, I need to bring back the running shorts. I'm like, they have holes in them now, but we're still dancing.
I think for me, it was like specifically the gold toe socks.
That's
And it
so
was just
funny.
like, whoa, that is such a cultural old reference. Like I was like, great, okay, this is it. And I think as I started to like follow your content, I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And then I grabbed it on like a flash sale.
I love that. And I also love what you're talking about I mean, I don't know if love is the right word, but I felt that when you said like cancer will have this way of making you look at your life and just the fear that you felt when you were like, I don't want to end up like a boomer wife. I don't want to end up where I don't know what's happening and I don't have a plan and I'm in this vulnerable state. And it's like, boom, you're hit with this aggressive cancer diagnosis. And now you're faced with like, did I stay true to my word? Am I on the track? Do I have the security that I said I needed to begin with? And it's like very much calling you in to be like, I got to handle this now because God forbid I have to deal with this at the worst case scenario, at worst timing. So the fact that you had the strength and ability to just be like, when you're traveling to other states and things like that, and dealing with the headache that is the medical system in this country, you still had the ability to be like, all right, but I also have to take care of myself. I also have to make sure I'm set and let me like invest in this to then make sure, that I am covered and I am on track. So kudos to you because that's not an easy thing to do.
I also think, Chloe, like what you are bringing, you and, I'm sure the Dow Jones are there too, but like you and other like finance creators, like I feel like we're a little bit like talking shit about this idea of like a stuck boomer wife.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like the resource that you are bringing into the world, I mean, that didn't exist when
It
I was
didn't.
25. When I was 25, Facebook was barely a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like barely a thing. So there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't content creators, like there wasn't like look something up on Google and you can
Right.
then go do it yourself. Like there that wasn't as available. So all of the resources that I lacked as a younger woman, I mean, women couldn't even get their own credit card until what, like 76? So,
Yeah.
like, I also want to recognize, like, you know, sort of the times are so different, and like all women kind of stand upon the shoulders of like the generations before them. And I hope that, you know, younger millennials and Gen Zers are going to be standing on my shoulders
Mm-hmm.
and that, they are going to be better financially prepared for their own futures, because of what I went through and then what, my cousins and my aunts and my mothers and my grandmother like went through before me. So like
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that we are also talking about that, like we're not just talking shit about this
A
like stuck
hundred
boomer wife,
percent.
but it's like
It's
we're
just this
building
situation.
upon each other.
Yes, it's the recognizing of like every generation we have our own battles. And it's like they had an entirely different set of battles. And
Yeah.
as millennials, as Gen Xers, as Gen Zers, we're looking at that and saying, I don't want that. So what do I have to do to make sure that that's not my circumstances? And like that's the only way that change happens is by sometimes being able to, especially when you don't know what else there is. Sometimes the
Yeah.
only way to identify what we need to do differently is to recognize what we don't want. So that's really the lens. If anybody is listening and being like, they're hating on boomers, we're not trying to hate on boomers. We're recognizing that, yeah, there were their own set of challenges and we wouldn't be able to do what we do now had the sacrifices made prior to us not been made. So absolutely.
Yeah.
So you took the course.
Okay, I
You
took the course.
started educating yourself on investing. Took you a couple months to get through, and then you started having conversations with your financial advisor. Tell us a little bit about how that went, Cassie.
Yeah. So I was with him for probably 12 or 13 years. So
Okay.
this was like a very long standing relationship. Um, I started like questioning what my investments were,
Yeah.
what their performances were, and then the accounts in which they were held. So like I really got onto the idea of like the Roth IRA and kind of like the rolling all of those accounts
Mm-hmm.
into like a Roth IRA and then doing a backdoor Roth
Mm-hmm.
IRA.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized like I had multiple accounts that I could then roll into like my single Roth IRA and just like have that one account.
Rather than
So
multiples. Mm-hmm.
yeah, rather than multiples where I was trying to figure out like, okay, what's like the add up of like all of my annual contributions across multiple accounts. Let's just roll
Sure.
them into one. Whopping bomb. There's your 6,000 or 6,500 annual contribution, and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So I initially reached out to him to do an account rollover. I also worked with my CPA and knew what like I was getting into and what the tax implications were.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Well, I disagree with this strategy." I was like, "Mhm. Well, it's like my account and my money, and this is what I'm gonna do. So you need to do it."
Yeah.
Um, and then I started to ask him questions about, like, what am I invested in? And I started discovering that like I don't think he was invested in like the wrong things. But I did discover there was like 22,000 bucks in cash that
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't invested. And like he started to get really heated when I was asking him these questions. And I mean, like really hot, like really emotional. And eventually was just like, well, if you don't think I'm qualified for this, then we'll just start closing your accounts and making this really easy for you. And I was like, don't you
Wow.
dare threaten me. Like you can't just like threaten to like close my accounts
That's
for
crazy.
me. And then like, I he got really hot. So then I kind of got hot and was reactionary in the moment and was just like, I was like, look at what I've been through like the last, year and a half, like
Yeah.
getting a partner through cancer. I'm now trying to, make sure that I'm financially secure. And this is how you're treating me. Well, fine. Uh, Fire me. Go ahead. And then, so that's when I was like, great. I will let you know when I'm ready to roll my accounts over to Fidelity. And that's what I did. I just carved out a couple hours in the day to be on the phone with like customer service
Yeah.
folks and got Fidelity to help me like figure out what I needed to do and just did all of the account transfers and was like, well, fuck you too.
You're like, well, if you're gonna be a dick to me, and also it sounds like he was threatening you essentially when you
Yeah.
identified the fact that I remember when we had talked about this a year ago, you had the reason there was $22,000 sitting in cash is because he had forgotten to reinvest the dividends, which is
Uh-huh.
such a rookie mistake. It's such a bizarre, like, of course you would have more questions after that. And he must have been defensive because you like essentially caught him in a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, and
Oh,
Lord knows clearly that was hurting his little ego. So
yes.
that's wild. And my initial reaction is like, did you feel overwhelmed when you're like, I have to go now and consolidate all these accounts and call Fidelity and have those conversations? Or were you like, I'm not looking forward to this, but like I have a handle on it? Because that seems like a big task.
I was all of the whelms.
Yeah.
Like I was I was overwhelmed by the task. I was so ticked and
Mhm.
underwhelmed at how I was being treated.
Yeah.
I definitely cried. I definitely yelled.
Mhm.
Because I am certainly one that like gets fired up. But yeah, there were tears and being really mad. But then there was also this like determined resolve
Yeah.
eventually to just be like, well, fine. That's the way things are going to be. Then you can kiss my fees goodbye.
Yes. Yes. Well, and if I remember right, you were paying like 2% in fees.
The fee, so I was with Wells Fargo advisors, and the fees
Was
were,
insane.
which Chloe is another thing that like I learned from your course was like how to kind of assess the fees,
Yeah.
as well as like the the certification, like the certified CHFP, is that what it is?
CFP.
CFP. So my person was not a CFP. So like
Oh
I
yeah.
also discovered that from your course. And so, after I got over like all the feels, like there was like a determined resolve to be like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. You follow the steps and you can do this.
Heck yes. And you did it. And now
Yes.
look at you now. So you went from having this very heated conversation with your financial advisor to essentially taking it all on yourself. And how has that gone? Like, how was the process of transferring over? How are you doing now? Are you actively managing? Are you lazy? Like, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
So I am now actually like I finally know what it means to max out your 401k and get the tax advantage of that, because
Yes.
I think my accountant told me that year after year after year, and I was like, okay,
You're like, I
what?
don't know.
I
Well, and
don't know.
so many of us think that getting our employer match is the max because it's such
Yes.
confusing language. And you're like, what do you mean? Like the max? I'm getting the max. I'm getting my 3% employer match. And then you don't realize there's all this other opportunity to put more money away pre-tax for most people. Most people are doing traditional. So yeah, that's wild.
Yes. So that is happening. So like I really appreciated all of like the account orders. So it was like, okay, max out the 401k. I also max out, excuse me, my HSA, as
Nice.
my employer does offer that.
Hmm.
They also offer an employer contribution, which is really generous and great of them. And then I do a backdoor Roth IRA that I maxed out, and then like also learned from you to like if if it's feasible to do it as quickly as possible
Hmm.
in the year, so that all of that money just has that time in market. Um, and then I obviously contribute to just the traditional brokerage
Hmm.
account. Um, I would say I'm pretty lazy, although I check it a lot
I do the same thing.
because
Just to
I like,
update my net worth. Like I always like just going in and checking. Like I don't really update it if it's down. I'm like, psh, I don't care. I'm not gonna
oh yeah.
update it. I'm only gonna update it if it's up.
So I I check it a lot,
Hmm.
but it's it's almost like it's less to worry about it and less to fiddle with it. Um it's more about like the encouragement
Yeah.
and like sort of like I don't know if it's like this, just the self motivation
Yeah.
to be like, okay, there's efficacy here, keep going.
Yeah.
And to be able to watch like the progress I've made, so I can be like, okay, like stick with this, is sort of like why I kind of continuously check it.
Oh, I get that. And I feel like it's like the keeping the excitement alive because you're in it for the long
Yes.
term and you're doing it aggressively. I mean, you're trying to retire, I think if I remember by 45, right?
Yeah, I am. Oh, and if not, I think it's more of like a semi-retirement. Like I don't
Sure.
want to full retire, but I would like to have some sort of pretty big career transition or pivot
Hmm.
around the 45-ish mark. Like if it's 44, that's fine. If it's 47, that's fine. I can be a little flexible
Yeah.
with that, but definitely looking to make real significant progress and like be ready to transition something career pivot wise around 45.
That's so cool. And how many years is that for you?
5.5.
5.5, Cassie. Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love the way that you like deepened your voice an octave for that one.
Yeah.
You're like, 5.5.
5.5.
So you're like, I'm not 40 yet. Okay. All right.
Not yet, but I'm
Yeah, that's
stoked
right.
about it.
That's right. Amazing. So how does it feel? I mean, to be on the other side, a year and a half of changes, $140,000 net worth increase. You're managing all of your investments all by yourself. You know what you're doing. You're excited to look at your brokerage accounts. Like, do you think that a year and a half ago, Cassie would believe all that?
I don't think so.
She'd be like,
Uh,
what are you doing?
yeah, yeah. And so my own self advocacy is a development area for me. So this
Yeah.
isn't easy, and I do find like it is kind of an emotional thing. But Chloe, like the amount of confidence that this has built for me personally and the amount of like, no, fuck you, I can totally do this,
Hell yeah.
is so like, it's just it's so much more than I ever thought. Like if somebody had said to me like, "Oh, you're going to take a personal finance class that you found on the internet and like the gal dances around in gold toe socks
Yeah.
and
You're like,
everything's not just pink, everything is pink." Um, as part of the course, and it would give me like the level of confidence that I have achieved in like what I did and what I can do. I would be like, "You're crazy. That
oh,
sounds like the craziest thing in the whole world." But the amount of like confidence and self-belief that I
mhm.
have now as a result of like the course and being able to achieve what I've achieved, it I never thought that that was humanly possible. And I see it in a lot of areas of my life too. Like in my professional work, I'm just like when there's not a process, I'm like, "Oh, I'll just make one up. I can do that."
I love
Um,
that.
and in my personal life, anything that I am facing, I'm like, well, I mean, if I can manage my own finances, I can probably manage this.
That's like making me emotional because I wish like I try to tell that to people. Like I try to get that message out of like you don't even know how you're going to feel when you have that FU fund, when you have that
Yeah.
emergency fund, when you are investing for yourself, when you're not afraid of retirement. And it's like so good to hear that you're experiencing that and that you have experienced that. And like that just makes me so excited for you. And I'm so fucking glad. Like, and I'm so proud too because I know what that's like. I know I was talking to my therapist yesterday about like my journey of self-worth and my journey of finding myself and finding my strength. And I was like, I don't really feel like I've come into this place that I'm in now where like I do have self-worth and I do have strength and I do really stand up for myself and do what's right for myself. I was like, a lot of it started when I started to get, and I know that sounds crazy, but like a lot of it started when I started to take care of my money because taking care of our finances for ourselves is like the epitome of taking care of ourselves, of care, like putting ourselves first and caring about us and saying like, I'm going to be the one that you could rely on. I'm going to be the one who's going to take care of you, Chloe, Cassie. Like, yeah, I got you. It's
Hmm.
the biggest act of self-love. And it's like that for me as well. It's just compounded into all these other things. Like I would have never started Clo Bare Money Coach if my finances were a mess. Obviously, like I would have never taken the risk of quitting my job and doing this full time. I would have never, taken a year to travel around the country and figure out where I wanted to live. Like so many of these like tiny steps. And then when we even look about it from like a relationship standpoint, it's like I can think back to when I thought that the solution to my issues and the security in life was to find a partner. And it's like now that's not even remotely a factor in
Yeah.
me choosing a partner. It's more like they can't fuck it up. Like, I got all this security for myself. I got to make sure whoever I partner with in the future is not going to, impact that in any way. If anything, they're just going to add to it. You know what I mean? It's huge.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I was thinking about as I was kind of like preparing for the day. Like I was thinking there's like two things of self-care that I've like really done for myself, like really, really, really done for myself. And it's your class and these Bose noise canceling headphones.
Heck yes. I
I'm like,
love that.
I'm like, like I can't believe I spent $300 on headphones and they were one of the best purchases I've ever made ever.
Heck yes, especially like if you ever struggle with like sensory stuff
Oh yeah.
because I definitely do where I get like overwhelmed or over like there's just too much sensory shit going on, right? Like I use earplugs, but I need to get some noise canceling earphones. Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, they're incredible. I travel a lot for work and they just make the plane ride so much more
Yeah.
tolerable when you
Yeah.
can kind of like shut
Calm.
calmness of spirit. Also, they're a great signal. Like this and a mask says, "Do not talk to me,"
Yes.
which is
Self-care.
I I do not want to talk to people on an airplane.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it too. Cause you're so friendly. Like, it's funny to hear you be like, do not talk to me. Fuck off, everybody. I got a mask on. I got the earphones. No, it's great. I love
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Because I always end up sitting next to coughing guy and talkative lady on
yep.
a plane. And so I need those signals that say, do not talk to me.
Yes. Let me read my book. Let me
Yeah.
listen to my music. Let me do whatever it is I came here to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh man,
Exactly.
Cassie, I'm just so proud of you. And I'm thankful that you came on today to share your story. And yeah, I mean, it's everything that I hope for, like in what I do on a day-to-day basis and teaching people. This is story, what you've done, how you've transformed. Like that's why I do what I do. So I'm really grateful for you taking the time to come and tell your story.
Chloe, I don't think there's anything that you could ask me to do in support of your business like that I would say no to because like I got so much from your class. It's not just about the, $140,000 in a net worth increase for me.
Yeah.
It was the self-confidence, the strategic and critical thinking about money, like the education component of it, like the supporting like a woman owned business that is like lifting up other women, like there was kind of that social component of it. So I mean, for me, I feel like you have like a true believer and like somebody that is happy to give a testimonial at any time because Chloe, I really do think like what you're doing and what your personal mission is, not only is it like taking care of like the health of anybody that takes your class, like regardless of their, you know, gender, or orientation or, diversity, whatever component, but like, or intersectional component that they have,
Mhm.
like I got so much more beyond that from your course. So I couldn't believe in it more.
Thank you. Is there
Welcome.
anything you want to say to somebody who is maybe Cassie a couple years ago and is like, I want to get my finances together. I want to feel what these ladies are talking about. I want to get to that point. Like, what would you say to somebody like that?
Just do it and do it now and start now. Like, because if I knew what I know now at 39, at
Right.
29, I wouldn't be working and I'm
Yeah.
working. So like,
Yeah.
and I really think that like every little bit counts, like if I have $17.17 extra a month, I still invest it because I can. And you taught me how I can invest without a minimum investment. And like, I still am doing it. And it's like, you can see the difference that it
Yeah.
makes even in a short amount of time.
Well, and that small amount too, like how you were talking about checking the brokerage account just like excites you and keeps you going. That tiny transfer, the $10, the $5, the $17, that keeps you excited because every time you transfer, it feels good. So even if I just second everything that Cassie said is like whatever that first step is for you today, like get started because those tiny moves, the like checking your bank account, the figuring out where your 401k is invested, like the little moves, they add up into something so much bigger. And like you're always going to wish you started today. You're like
Absolutely.
always going to wish that you started today. It doesn't matter if you decide to start tomorrow or if you decide to start in 5 years, you're going to wish that this moment when you were listening to this podcast and we were calling you in, you're going to wish you had done it today. So I love it. Thank you for getting me
100%.
all amped up, man. This is like filled my heart, filled my cup. Usually we'll ask like, where can they find you? So, we won't send a bunch of people to stalk your personal account, but you kind of already told us your first money memory, the painting houses, unless there was another one. What is there anything you're obsessed with right now? Oh my gosh, that's the best reaction. What is
Does
it?
it does it have to be money related or is it
No,
anything?
it
Oh,
shouldn't be money related unless you happen to be obsessed with something money related.
oh, I I am obsessed with what an utter clusterfuck Burning Man turned into. I cannot stop. I
Wait,
cannot stop
what
looking at the
happened?
photos.
I haven't even seen this.
Oh, so it rained in the desert.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, like a 100-year flood level rain.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so the desert just turned into like World War One level trench mud.
Oh God.
And so the Reno Gazette Journal has been my new best friend because their coverage of Burning Man was just beyond belief. So I can't stop looking at
For the
like the
updates.
photos of people stuck in the mud,
Okay.
RVs stuck in the mud. Like just what an absolute cluster Burning Man turned into, which conceptually, Chloe, I have no issue. If people want to go be weird out in the desert and wear
Sure.
LED covered clothing,
Yeah.
like you do you, baby, like free spirit all the way. I have a huge issue with what they've done to the land out there and how they're
Yeah.
like abandoning RVs. And I have a huge issue with like the Silicon Valley like bros that are going up there with all of their money and then just like abandoning trash on the land and things like that. So I have been obsessed with the Burning Man
It's kind of like
coverage.
the fire festival, how everybody was
Oh
obsessed
yeah.
with like the disaster of the fire festival. Only this time it's like Mother Nature being like, no, thank you. No gracias. I'm looking at photos now
Uh-huh.
and I'm just like, oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh.
I know.
Oh
It's
my
like
gosh.
a train wreck and I cannot look away. And Chloe, you're probably going to get some burner haters in the comments
Probably,
of this
probably.
of this podcast. But you know what, burner haters? If you left trash out on the playa, that is bad. And you need to get back on board with Leave No Trace.
Yes, yes to that. Heck yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Wow. 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 That's a lot of mud. Yeah, I'm just like
Uh-huh.
looking at these photos. I had no idea. I did see TikTok had sent me like a TikTok of somebody joking about Burning Man, but it wasn't so much. It was more like a joke about like what Burning Man is and things like that. But yeah, that's I didn't realize the reason that it was trending is because of this disaster.
Well, I think
Well,
kind of like everything, it sort of has evolved into something very different than
just like
the,
Coachella and like, yes,
yes,
100%. It's more of a like a consumerist thing than what it started as. It's not really, it's like taken on a corporate form almost.
a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like your original mission is gone when Mark Zuckerberg is like advertising that he's going to Burning Man.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you're
Yeah.
probably right. So
Yeah.
too funny. That was not what I was expecting. The glee, the like the mischievous glee on your face. Everybody will see it.
Oh,
Awesome. Well, thank you. I had no idea. Keeping me up to date on life events and news.
I
Shout
can't
out.
stop. It's such a train wreck.
Oh my God. Shout out to the Reno Gazette. I think you said it was called. Gazette
Reno
is
Gazette Journal.
like the Gazette is such a small town newspaper, like word. Like you immediately think I have a very visceral image of what that looks like.
Oh, their coverage was fantastic. So, way to go,
Amazing.
Reno Gazette Journal.
Amazing.